Welcome to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. If you're on a mission to be more frugal with both your time and money, you're in the right place. In this podcast, we talk about topics that help enhance living a frugal lifestyle. The goal is to save time and money where we can so that we can use the rest on what matters most to us. We talk a lot about both time and money management so that we can waste as little as possible on both. We do this while also embracing a progress over perfection mindset. If that sounds good to you, then please stick around for the latest episode right after a few quick words from our sponsor. Hi everyone, welcome back to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. Today I'm going to try to keep this episode a little bit quick because I am getting over being sick. I'm recording this on New Year's Eve day. I got sick the day after Christmas and I'm still sick. So I'm getting much better, but I just still am kind of have some lingering effects from the cold. I just had a really bad cold, but I just made my meal plan episode. I recorded that first before recording my regular Monday episode. I know they come out in different orders, but whatever. I was recording that and I barely made it through without coughing. So I'm going to try to get through this episode relatively quickly and still cover everything that I wanted to cover. As far as a quick life update, I did take a week off last week from the podcast for the first time actually ever since I've started it. And I think I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary now. So I was pretty proud of myself for never missing an episode, but I'm actually glad that I did miss a week because it felt really good to just take a complete break during the holidays, especially given that I wound up getting sick. But I've never missed an episode before. So it actually kind of took that pressure off of feeling like I had to record an episode at all costs just to not break that chain of never missing an episode. So I obviously don't really plan on missing any more episodes until maybe next Christmas when I'll probably take a week off again. But like I said, it did feel good to kind of give myself the break when I felt that I needed it without feeling that need to make sure that I never missed an episode to come out once a week. So anyway, as far as my loving lately, I got a wall-mounted jewelry box that I got for Christmas. And although I have not put it up yet, I I can see what it is, and I'm really, really excited about it because I have this jewelry box that's really old and it's kind of literally starting to fall apart, and my jewelry is just not super organized in there. So I'm kind of really excited about my new jewelry box, and I'm going to go through everything that I have and get it all nice and neat and organized. So I'm really loving that I got that, and then I'm going to be able to take the time to get it set up. I thought I would have been doing it over Christmas vacation because I was off this week, like I said, but I didn't realize that I would wind up being sick for the entire week, but that's okay. At least I was off work and I did get to relax without having to worry about calling out of work and all that kind of stuff. So looking at the bright side of being sick for Christmas vacation, I know not everyone gets to take off for Christmas vacation, so I'm lucky that I was able to take that week off. But I would have much rather obviously not been sick. So anyway, let's talk about New Year's resolutions today. So obviously, as we all know, New Year's resolutions are a really popular way to set goals and try to start better habits. Many of us feel some pressure to set New Year's resolutions. Some of the most common resolutions, as I'm sure you all know, are usually related to fitness, eating habits, finances, mental health. But with so many of us making resolutions, unfortunately, often many of these resolutions only stick for a few months, if they even last that long. I usually do set New Year's resolutions, but honestly, I couldn't tell you what my resolutions were last year. I really don't remember. I really, truly do not remember at all, even remotely, what they may have been. And I had read somewhere that the second Friday in January is the day when most people quit their resolutions completely. So I don't know how accurate that is, but it definitely sounds possible based on my experience. So with so many resolutions being set, why are we so bad at keeping them as a general population? That's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. These are some of the reasons that are that we have a hard time keeping New Year's resolutions. So the first reason is that we often set unrealistic goals. One reason that we fail to stick with our resolutions is that they're just not something that we can realistically be able to do. For example, if someone has never exercised before and they set a goal to run a marathon, they're probably going to fail rather than if they just set a goal to walk for 30 minutes a day. It's really unmotivating to set a goal that you're never going to be able to reach. So you really want to try to set goals that stretch you a little bit rather than a goal that will never happen. And consider what else is going on in your life too, and how much time and effort you can really put into the goal on a regular basis. You want to make it something that's fun to work toward, that you can, kind of achieve and celebrate while you're working on achieving this goal, rather than setting expectations that you're going to be really unlikely to achieve. And those can wind up turning into a constant source of pressure and stress rather than something you can feel great about. And then that stress often makes you want to give up. So we often set unrealistic goals for New Year's. We kind of give up on them because they're not something that we could probably realistically stick with. Another reason why we fail to stick to our resolutions is that we often don't have a real plan for achieving them. So, for example, if someone wants to improve their health, they need to have some kind of plan on how they're going to change their diet or their exercise habits. A goal has to have actionable steps so that you can measure if you're sticking to your resolution. So, rather than stating that you're going to try to exercise 3 days a week, maybe decide on the 3 specific times that you have available to exercise and commit to those times so that you can actually have something to measure against and be able to show that you're being successful with that goal. Often, New Year's, we just kind of come up with some random last minute goal that we say we're going to make a change next year, which we've probably never made or maybe even attempted to make before realistically. And then we just make the statement and we don't have a plan. And that's often why we kind of don't stick with those New Year's resolutions. Often, another reason why we don't stick with our resolutions is we might not have a good support system in place. So, for example, say if someone smokes and they want to quit smoking, they might need support of friends and family to help them through the process. It really helps, makes you feel good about your the achievements that you're doing when you have encouragement from others to help keep you on track, or having someone to reach out to when you're having a hard time sticking to your new habits. That can really be a good source of strength to keep you going. And it can also create accountability when you know you have people that are excited for you about the changes that you're trying to make. So it's really important to have a good support system. Another reason we do not often stick with our resolutions is because we don't have a strong enough motivation to change. Sometimes we come up with a resolution just because it's the new year and we feel like we need to think of some positive change to make. But it's pretty unlikely that if this was a change you were really motivated about starting, you probably wouldn't be waiting for the new year to start. So this can lead us to setting resolutions that we don't really have much of a commitment to, and that can lead us to losing interest pretty quickly, which is why our resolutions wind up dropping off. So the thing is that New Year's resolutions, they can be a great way to make a positive change in your life, but they do also require a plan for success, and they really require true motivation to be successful. So if you feel like you're struggling to stick with your resolutions, maybe try breaking them down into smaller, more achievable goals, or even think about if it's something that you really want to achieve. Is it something that it's really important to you, or is it something that you just kind of came up with at the last minute so that you could state a resolution that you had? If you're not really excited about it, then pick a new one. You do not need to wait for next year to start over again. Resolutions and positive changes can be made at any time. So while the new year does provide great motivation to start fresh and make some great changes, don't feel like you lost your chance to do something great if you're unsuccessful with your original plans for the new year. So that's all I have to say on this topic. I know this was a little bit on the short side, but like I said, I'm worried that I'm going to have to start coughing if I keep talking too much. So I did want to kind of keep this a little bit more concise than maybe I would have originally thought of when doing this topic. So I hope this maybe motivates you to either stick with your goals or resolutions that you may have set, or to just drop them and think of something that you actually are really motivated about sticking with. So that's it for today. I really appreciate you listening, and I will see you back here next week.
So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode. And don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes, and definitely all of my meal plan episodes, at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast. Those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.